spoiler alert about my last video where I said hopefully the next movie I review isn't as bad as Imaginary. Well, it's certainly not any better, but it's certainly not as bad. So, I figured the other movie I wanted to talk about that's like I was somewhat mixed, and it technically counts as a horror thriller, is the movie Trap from M. Night Shyamalan. And this one I'm a bit conflicted on. Because when I first watched it, I already thought it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And spoiler alert, if you're expecting a classical M. Night Shyamalan type of twist, you're not going to get it. Just forewarning you, you are not going to get any type of Shyamalan twist. Which is upsetting because I felt like this could have had a good twist. Like, what if the father was actually kidnapping the daughter, or what if the daughter was the killer? Something like that. Like, those are some twists that a bunch of people, theorized. And in all honesty, those are some pretty cool twists. But knowing Shyamalan, he would have came up with something absolutely batshit insane. This movie is batshit insane for totally different reasons. And like I said, I'm somewhat conflicted on this movie because first time I saw it, I didn't like it. Second time, I warmed up to it. Third time, I was mixed on it. Fourth time, I couldn't even I'm still somewhat mixed on it because even after, this is my fifth time watching it overall, and I still have no idea what I wanted from this movie, and I'm still somewhat mixed on it. And this stupid fly is still stealing my spotlight. Maybe that'll be my partner in crime when it comes to my videos. Just like my review with Imaginary, let me start off by the positives by saying this movie isn't as boring until you get to it's kind of like a reverse of Imaginary, where 2/3 of the movie are fairly entertaining for different reasons. Because this isn't a Shyamalan movie, because I feel like Shyamalan movies can be split into two separate sides of the spectrum. Either laughably bad or pretty damn good. This movie is right in the middle, where it has some really damn good stuff in it, but it has some laughably bad moments, specifically with... I'm going to get into this in just a moment, but specifically with a couple of the line choices, the line deliveries, some of the camera, there is so many confusing, I can't tell if it's pretentious or mocking, I don't know what it was doing, but some of the camera movements were very weird and bizarre. Line deliveries were absolutely bizarre. Some of the characters are also bizarre. There's a security guard in this movie, where he just straight up in front of the killer, and mind you, he doesn't know he's the killer. He just thinks he's a regular person. He is just flat out telling him everything they're planning. We are going to catch this killer. Here's what we have planned. Oh, here's the secret password we tell each other in case something happens. On top of that, there is also just a crazy amount of coincidences that just made me cackle out loud, because I was just oh my god, this guy is literally Jesus. There were so many moments where even the killer should be caught, but he doesn't. At one point, he goes to the roof, a bunch of FBI agents are up there, and he's like, oh man, someone got hurt, I don't know what happened. And then they're like, hey, can we see your ID? And he's like, sure, let me just go. Oh, I got what do you know? What a coinkydink. I have a wallet right here. Or I have my badge number right here. So, it is just utterly bizarre, some of the choices in this movie. But 2/3 of it is just incredibly entertaining for those reasons. Unfortunately, once you get to that ending, it is just it's a drag. There is several different endings to this movie. I swear to you. This movie refuses to end. And if you are expecting a twist like I was half the time, and I seriously thought, did I miss a twist? Was there a super secret twist, or was I supposed to find one in there and then go oh my god, it was a hidden twist all along? Nothing happened in terms of any type of anything, honestly. It is just very bizarre, the choices they went with for this movie. So I will say 2/3 of this movie is entertaining, but then once you get to that third act, it's a rough watch, and the ending is incredibly disappointing, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, that's really the majority of Trap. Bringing it back to Josh Hartnett, though, I have no idea. No offense to those that actually loved his performance or thought he did a phenomenal job. I mean, I thought he did for completely different reasons. I mean, by no means is he sleepwalking through this, or by no means he's like half-assing his performance. But this is a classic Shyamalan moment where he takes a relatively good actor and just has so many bizarre line readings from him that it just makes it impossible not to laugh. Like, it is just, his line deliveries are so freaking hilarious in this, and watching his like facial movements and interactions, granted at the beginning it's a little bit rough, but once he talks to the security guard, there's a complete flip of a switch and he just plays this utter goofball. And it's the most entertainingly funny thing I think I saw last year. But that's really all about most of the praise I can give him, unfortunately, because like I said, his acting isn't great. He's not half-assing it, but it isn't as great as I was hoping for, because a lot of people were praising this as like a next Oscar winner. And when I watched it, I was like, dude was pretending like he wasn't even watching over his own daughter for a moment, like a best friend's daughter. And that's where I mentioned a good twist would have been like maybe he kidnapped the daughter, or it wasn't his daughter, and like something like that. And I thought that's what they were going for. They were going to have hints of like, oh, maybe this isn't someone. Maybe this isn't his daughter. Maybe this is someone completely different, but doesn't have that. So, yeah, cringy at first, but his acting is kind of silly and goofy the more the movie continues. Then there's Shyamalan's daughter. Now, she may be a great singer, but she is not a great actor. No shots towards her. She does have her moments, but in that third act, she has also some classic goofy Shyamalan type of line readings and deliveries. I'm just like, oh, okay. And couldn't help but make me laugh, but it was entertaining in a way. But yeah, unfortunately, the only good thing I can say about her is the fact that she is a fantastic singer. I gotta be honest, most of the songs, although they're not like too terribly memorable, I will be honest, they're pretty damn good. And she's a really damn good singer, so I will be honest there. She is pretty good in that aspect. Actor, not so much. But I would be interested in seeing her in other Shyamalan projects, because I do feel like there were some like moments that could have really been cool. But otherwise, this movie, like I said, it's kind of a reverse Imaginary, whereas Imaginary has, it's just an overall, I apologize, it is extremely windy where I live, so if you hear any creaking or obvious wind blowing, that's just what the weather's like. Welcome to October in Colorado. But yeah, like, she has some very bizarre moments. But anyway, oh man, where was I going with this? I already forgot where I was going. Oh, right, I was gonna compare this to Imaginary. So, unlike Imaginary, where I barely remember a thing about that movie, at least this movie, 2/3 of it I do remember and I do kind of enjoy. The last half is boring, and then with Imaginary, 2/3 of it, almost like 99% of the movie is boring, but then you get to one section of Imaginary and it's like really entertaining. This movie is really entertaining in like a Truth or okay, that's a dig at Shyamalan. It's not as bad as Truth or Dare in terms of like the acting or line deliveries. It's kind of goofy like Truth or Dare. That's the best way I can explain it. But man, once you get to that final act of Trap, it's a rough one. I mean, it's not like Return of the King where it's just like several different endings and it's like 3.5 hours, but it feels like that. And like I said, there's not a classic Shyamalan twist, so if you're expecting that, you will be disappointed. I mean, I certainly was, but it was entertaining. Anyway, that's about it. I don't want to keep this review any longer, so see ya.